everyone, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Maddie.
We're wives, moms, hot messes for Jesus, and your new favorite unfiltered besties.
And this is Holy Hot Mess, where faith gets real and messy, but it's all still holy.
So I'm going to need you to grab some coffee
And your chaos,
and let's dive in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Holy Hot Mess. This is your co-host, Maddie.
And this is your co-host, Stephanie.
And we are super thrilled to be coming back with you guys for episode 3.
Yeah, I am super excited for this episode. But before we start, I have a fun little question. If you could add one rule to your workplace that everyone had to follow, what would it be? No loud chewing, no surprise meetings, or mandatory snack time. You don't have to choose those answers because I'm not.
Well, I immediately know my answer. It's none of those, and that's completely fine. Now, I do work from home, and I encourage everyone, please do not message me and ask me if I'm hiring, because we're not hiring, and I really, yeah. And so...
And yeah.
So my answer, I do customer service, and so my answer would be mandatory nap time.
Why did you just choose my answer?
Was that your answer? I try to slide it. So we have like weekly meetings with our team, because we have a whole company and different customer service representatives, but we each have a team. And so every time I'm like, mandatory nap time, please. And every one time my boss is like, no, Madison. I'm like, okay, that ain't giving a shot.
No, but I don't like those either because, first of all, I don't care about surprise meetings. I mean, they don't bother me. Snack time, I technically snack all the time. So, you know. But yeah, I was also going to choose mandatory nap time. And I actually sent my boss a calendar invite. And I was like, dear team. And I listed out that we should do nap time. And it was very professional because I had ChatGPT write it. And I even included a little picture that says what not to do during nap time and what to do during nap time. And that was sleep for nap time.
Did it get passed through?
No, she declined the meeting. Yeah. I'm still salty about it.
If it was still on my calendar, I would have taken it. Sorry, no take backs.
No takesies backsies.
No. But that was a really fun icebreaker, Stephanie. But today's topic is a little deeper and kind of on topic with the icebreaker. So we're talking about today faith at work. Because the truth is, most of our day is spent truly working. Not just fiddling our fingers because we work from home and all that jazz.
Yeah, Maddie. Clean your house. Don't worry, I got it too whenever I was working from home.
So if we're going to be followers of Jesus, it has to show up in more than just church. It has to show up how we work, how we speak, and how we deal with people.
And your job might be one of the biggest places where faith actually gets tested. And I'm pretty sure that Maddie works at one of those places.
Yes, I deal with grumpy old men all day.
Yeah, customer service is not for everybody, for sure. But it's not because the work is hard. It's just because the environment can be messy. Really messy when you're dealing with old men, grumpy men.
You gotta face it. If you think you're going to walk into your job and it's gonna be so spiritual, you're badly mistaken.
True.
There are sometimes people can be spiritual and the people, I'm going to say worldly people that are not spiritual, be like, shut up. I used to work somewhere. She was super, super friendly with me, and she's still one of my really good friends. But once she found out I was a pastor's wife, she built that wall up real fast. She goes, I feel like everything I say to you, I'm just sinning. I'm like, you're just talking to me. What do you mean? And she wouldn't do nothing. She'd barely talk to me anymore because of that. So you're going to be tested and you're going to have those times. I feel like I'm putting the cart before the horse, but I'll let you take back over, Stephanie.
But that's exactly why we want to take the time on this podcast episode and talk about what it looks like to take your Christian values into your job with integrity, with patience, and with purpose. Because patience, that's a big one, especially in those times where you have somebody that isn't like-minded in that Christian sense, and they just attitude. That makes me want to meet them with attitude.
And so let's get right into this. So here's a question for you, but it's a rhetorical question. How do we live out our faith Monday through Friday in a way that honors God and still keeps us sane.
And for those of you out there thinking that there is no answer, keep listening to this podcast. Don't turn it off because you might think it's boring.
You're going to get a rude awakening, that's for sure.
So, Madison, did you know that your faith doesn't stay home when you clock in?
What if you're already home? I work from home.
You could chat GPT it.
Yes!
So, one of the biggest lies that we believe is that faith belongs in spiritual places only. So, church, devotion time, prayer time. But the truth is, the reality is that your job is one of the main places where your faith is supposed to show up. And I honestly believe, I don't even know if we're going to talk about this, but I honestly believe that your work or like public places is the first place where your witness gets quote unquote judged. You know what I mean? Like when you show up to your job, people only know the work version of you. People know the work version of Maddie, the work version of Stephanie. So if I begin to tell them like, hey, I'm a Christian, or like, I don't even know how you would get on that topic, but eventually, I mean, at all the places I've worked at, we've eventually got on that topic. And so we go about our day and they see something that's not Christian like. They hear something that's not Christian like from me. That's going to be one of the first places where your witness is judged. Like, and you know, it could potentially hurt you.
So, Stephanie, when you say witness, what do you mean by witness? What is our witness?
Your witness is something that other people see. So you'll exhibit Christian-like values through your words, actions, the way that you live, your tone, your attitude, your reactions to things. But it can also go into how reliable that you are and your teamwork with others. And all of those things.
And probably so much more.
Yes,
There's
exactly.
so many ifs, ands, and buts about it.
Exactly. And that's why I say that it goes a lot farther than just a first impression. And honestly, it's like a first impression over and over and over again.
Right. Because, like, I know we were just kind of talking about it. Like, yes, I have my first impressions of people. For example, I didn't like you.
Yep.
You were very snobby to me. I'll be honest. I'll let everyone know. To me, you seemed like you thought you were better than everybody. And not messaging me back on Facebook when I wanted to buy a welcome sign. That could have done it too. But after getting to know you and actually having an honest, real, raw conversation, I actually found out that we were so much alike. And I fell in love with you as a best friend.
You fell in love with me?
Yeah. Do you love me?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No.
No.
I mean, what was your first impression of me?
But it's true. I was getting ready to say that. I didn't like you either. Know what it was about you. I just didn't like you. I don't know.
Join the club, the Maddie Haters Club. There's a big crowd. You know, in those times that we had those feelings towards each other, I wouldn't say hatred. I just didn't like you. You just weren't my cup of tea. But in those times, we weren't perfect. And we honestly didn't give each other the time to get to know each other.
Right.
Because you not responding to me for not giving me a welcome outdoor sign was not a really good reason for me not to like you. Now, if we would have been consistent in our way and not willing to give each other a chance and not trying to like each other, that would have been different. But it's also about the way we carry ourselves at work. It should reflect what we believe. Even on the days you're tired, frustrated, running late, or you just got belittled for 30 minutes. Or put in a random meeting and screamed at.
You're so nonchalant.
So I'll stop rambling on about my problems, but faith really isn't about our words. It's not just about our words. It's about our presence. So how you show up, it matters. How you treat people, it matters. And how you handle stress, it matters. All of those things, obviously there's so many more different things, but that's just a few that I can think about.
You wouldn't think that how you handle stress matters. It just goes back to your tone, your attitude. Like if you get super under stress and then you start cussing everybody out and then you claim to be a Christian the next time you open your mouth, it doesn't go together.
And so I know it makes it a little harder for me working from home. As much as I pamper it up and I'm like, oh, I love it so much. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Truly, I mean that. But sometimes it's really hard when I do everything over Slack. I have to add a little smiley emoji in there so you know I'm not passing attitude around. And sometimes the things I say sounds kind of rude. And so just do keep in mind how you do everything. It matters. It makes a difference. Your attitude can show Jesus more clearly than anything you say. It's important.
It speaks louder than words. We always hear your actions speak louder than words. But how about we throw your attitude speaks louder than words?
I have to agree with you, but also I want to throw a little something in there. Your tone and attitude. Your tone's very important.
Yes. My mother, call out, used to say that all the time.
What?
She's like, your tone, Stephanie Michelle.
Oh, middle name.
Yeah, middle name dropped.
How'd that make you feel?
I would always be like, Mom, I don't have an attitude.
You have an attitude.
I do now because you've told me that I did. So now that we understand that faith doesn't stay at home unless you're Maddie and you work from home, how do we actually live it out?
So now after talking about everything we've talked about, I want to now kind of jump into and explore how we carry and focus on three main key values. I wanted to say carry and focus for a reason. You can carry them without focusing on them. You can focus on them without carrying them. I think you can at least. You can say you got them on your back, carrying them, but you don't actually portray them. You can try your best to portray them, but you don't actually carry them on your back.
I like that.
And so, yes, there are more than three key values, but the ones we kind of want to tackle today is integrity, patience, and purpose. Some of those will hit us right between the eyes.
Oh, yeah.
So, the first one. Integrity. So that is doing right when it's not easy. Because if you think that doing right is always going to be easy, it's not.
What?
I know, right?
Hold on. So you're telling me that it's not easy to do right?
No. And sometimes it might be really hard for people to do so.
Wow.
Because our flesh starts to take over. You know what I like to think about? I want everyone to watch a really good episode of SWAT. There's an episode where they bust somebody who steals so much money. One of the characters in there, his wife has cancer and she lost her job. He ends up debating on whether to take the money that they just got from that person that stole him or not. And I couldn't imagine. That's not even half of what I tackle at my work. He really had to resist it. He ended up not taking it. But could you imagine?
That's a good example.
Watch SWAT. It's so good. So, kind of with that example, integrity means choosing the honest path even when no one would know otherwise. He was the person that caught that guy. Nobody else caught him. The bag actually got hit by a car, and so the money just went everywhere. So who would have known if a few $100s was missing?
Right.
And he still chose what was right. So it's about doing good, honest work. You're owning your mistakes and treating people fairly. And so integrity can look like so many different things. That's finishing the job the right way, not the fast way, keeping your word, admitting when you're wrong, which is very hard for a lot of people. But I also think part of admitting when you're wrong is respecting people even when you disagree. Agreeing to disagree is perfectly fine.
Owning your mistakes is huge, and it holds a lot of water for people because it just shows the kind of person that you are. And there's actually a specific example that I can use because I made a huge mistake at work. And I do payroll for the company that I'm at, so let's just say, I'm not going to go into it, but let's just say it was a big mistake, but I owned up to it, and I'm like, you know what, I was wrong, I'm sorry.
And I bet that was really hard.
It was, because we were just having a good week. We were talking about, like, how my confidence is getting up and all of this other stuff, and then boom, the devil cut me right off at the knees.
Ouch!
Yeah, that was rude.
Disrespectful if you ask me.
But integrity builds a lot of trust, especially when it comes to owning those mistakes. And trust makes your faith believable. And when people see that you're reliable and honest and steady and strong in what you believe, how you want to own up to everything, your tone and attitude and all those kind of other things, they see something different in you.
So does that mean that their impression of you changes?
Yeah, it could be.
An impression also meaning
Your witness.
a
What?
wheel and a wheel.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about patience.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
I'm glad you got this one.
Oh, yeah. Choosing the calm over the chaos. And let's just say, don't pray for patience. Disclaimer. Patience at work isn't just about waiting quietly. It's about staying centered when everything around you feels super rushed, super stressful, and chaotic. So here's what patience looks like in a workplace. Maddie, take notes.
Excuse me? I get told all the time when the trainers are listening to my call, you handled that so well.
I'm kidding.
Oh.
So, patience looks like staying calm when someone talks to you rudely. Hello. Nobody likes that one.
That's when you're going to have to prevent that eye roll. It's going to be hard.
Taking a breath before responding, giving people a lot of grace when they're struggling. I know you're going to interject here because we are on the same wavelength. So, you go out to eat, and your waiter's constantly getting something wrong, your food's messed up, and you can physically see the distress on your waiter or waitress's face. Don't scream at them. Just ask them if they're okay. And I know that you've done that before, and the person would just like cry because they're struggling. They're having a bad day. Just give people grace. Not everybody has a good day. Are we on the same wavelength?
Yes. I was going to say put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone truly has just a bad attitude in general. Like, we all know that one person that you never have caught them in a good attitude. And so there has to be something going on for someone to maybe be a little extra. Maybe they're not getting stuff right, or they're messing up, or they're giving you some sass. That's why I try to lean away when people do have sass when they're talking to me, not just with work, but just in general. Because I try to say, well, did they have a bad day at work? What are they going through? So create a conversation. Try to get to know them. So with all of that being said, patience keeps you from reacting out of emotion. It helps you respond with wisdom instead of frustration. Taking those deep breaths, trying your best to stay calm, giving grace, and everything that Stephanie had mentioned, it creates a peaceful environment around you. And something people notice more than you think. You are going to remember when someone snaps at you and gives you attitude. So the last value is purpose. Seeing your job as bigger than tasks. So purpose is remembering that your job is more than just a to-do list. It's a place where God can use you even in the small moments. So before I dive into this, I want to please request a favor. Please, 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 please. Do not make everything a big deal. Not everything is a purpose.
A little interjection here, You will know when it is purposeful as far as the spiritual things go. I don't know how to explain it further than that, but you will know.
I mean, yeah, 100%. You will know. Not everything is spiritual, and we can't over-spiritualize everything. Is that possible?
Yeah, no. I definitely agree with that.
And so what purpose can look like is showing kindness to someone who's having a hard day. You need to recognize and show kindness to someone who's having a hard day. Bring encouragement into negative spaces. Whatever you bring to the table is what you're going to present and spread throughout the room, like a virus, like coronavirus.
Don't be a negative Nancy. Anyway.
But no, like, exactly. Don't be so negative. Now, I do still want to encourage, it might be a little harder for the people that are introverts. So this is going to be a challenge for you. Giving your best, even when the job feels repetitive. Everyone has those certain jobs. I have that job. I'm just constantly answering phones, helping people with their product. It gets kind of exhausting sometimes. That's where my extrovertness comes out, and I get to have great, amazing conversations with people. And seeing yourself as a light and not just an employee. But also with that, I kind of want to counter contradict it. Don't think you're better than everyone. Be like, oh, I'm such a light. I want to spread so much light.
And how about we switch our perspective of this is something that we have to do, and switch it to this is something that we get to do. We get to do this every day.
Yes.
We get to walk around freely every day. Changing your perspective with that, especially in the workplaces, especially when they do feel repetitive, because I've had jobs where it's like in and out, same thing every day. But you get to do that. You get to be at home and you get to really like maximize your motherhood, because not everybody gets to do that.
It's truly a privilege.
Yeah. So this goes into what I was supposed to say. When you see your work as part of your calling, it changes how you approach everything. You stop working just to finish tasks and you start working to honor God.
You're exactly right. So we've talked about values. Now let's talk about how to actually practice them in real life situations.
So the first practical way to live out your faith at work is starting your day with intention. A simple, sincere moment with God can change the tone of your whole day. So saying, Lord, help me carry myself well today, will put your heart in the right place. And it's a reminder that your attitude is part of your witness, and God can steady you before anything derails you or cuts you off at the knees.
The second practical way to live out our faith at work is setting emotional boundaries. That's a big word. I'm actually reading a book about boundaries. I haven't got to finish it.
Haven't even started.
No, I haven't started. I've been working on it for 2 years.
Oh.
And so, like I said, boundaries is a really big word for people because not everyone has boundaries. And a lot of people actually have certain types of boundaries that we don't realize that we have.
And not everybody can set those boundaries either.
So you can care about your workplace without letting every problem live inside of you. And healthy boundaries aren't unkind. They're just necessary. They protect your peace so you can actually show up with clarity instead of burnt out.
So I also want to give a little story here because I work in HR. So inevitably, HR fires people. So it's really hard to set those emotional boundaries because of the fact that you're getting rid of somebody, terminating them, and they're no longer going to have a job. And it's hard for me not to think about when we fire them, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Are they going to make it financially? Are they struggling right now? Are they okay? Will they do okay? Will they get another job? It's very hard to turn that off. Now, I am very lucky because I'm a payroll person, so I don't necessarily let people go. So I am kind of thankful for that, but I have terminated people before.
You'll be there one day.
Yeah, and I will be there one day. But I also have done that before in the past. And so in those moments, especially for me, letting kindness lead my interactions, it's very important. And that's our third point of how you can live out your faith at work. And kindness, it's simple. Costs $0 for you to be kind. Did you know that?
It's free. I love free things.
But it's simple and it's powerful. And also being patient, being polite, thanking people, and being understanding is also simple, powerful, costs $0, and it can make a difference. So kindness reminds people that goodness still exists in a world that is often super rushed and super harsh. Like I've been saying before, I'm going to say it again. It costs you nothing, but it can mean everything to someone else. It can make somebody's day.
And that kind of goes into the fourth way that we can live out our faith at work. Handling conflict with grace. You don't have to match someone else's energy. You You don't have to match their emotions to address an issue. Because I'm going to be honest, if you try to match their energy or match someone's emotions, it's probably going to look a lot worse and be a lot worse. So it's very important that we stay calm in those times, because staying calm protects your character and speaking respectfully protects the relationship. And separating the person from the problem helps you communicate clearly instead of reacting emotionally. I've came to a place in my life. I've talked a little bit about how, like, growing up, I was adopted. My biological mom wanted nothing to do with me, and she still doesn't want nothing to do with me, which is completely fine because the feeling is mutual. But I had to mature enough to realize it wasn't her. She was just being the devil's advocate. And she has allowed this world to consume her so much that that's the reason why she has done what she has done. Now, that's just a personal example, but there are many different examples that we could use this for work.
And that brings us in to point number 5 of living out our faith at work. And that is bringing stability into unstable places. So when the pressure rises, you don't have to. When the environment gets tense, you can choose to stay calm and steady. Your calm presence brings that balance that the tense environment needs. And you can often become the safe person others look to when you feel chaotic. My boss is a good example of that because she can get rowdy, but I have noticed that she is a safe place for others to come to her to vent and all this other stuff. And that's a really good quality to have, because whether or not you are in HR, it's a good quality to have. But it's a great quality for her, my boss, because she's the HR manager. So it's like she's supposed to already be that safe person, but HR's got a bad rap. I'm not even going to lie. And so having that HR person that can be your safe place is very important.
And just know, when you start doing all of these and you try to start living out your faith at work, that's when you're going to be tackled and the devil's going to throw stuff at you. So I want everyone to realize, when you start to bring your faith at work and you start to find those ways or set those boundaries where you actually bring and live out your faith at work, you're going to be tested. Think about Job. Job had everything thrown at him. Yes, it was the devil, but I personally believe that God knew it was going to happen. And God let it happen.
I agree.
Because I believe God knows who are the lukewarm Christians. That's scary. And I believe he throws more stuff at them.
He knows where each of us need to go.
Yeah.
And he needs to, not that he doesn't know that he can trust us and trust that we have faith in him, but it's almost like he tests us for our own self. Like, he throws things at me, and when he gets me through it, it's like a realization for me to be like, oh, okay, that wasn't, like, God brought me through that.
And I also, because I'm the same way, I feel like God throws smaller things at me. And it doesn't help that the devil does play mind games with me, because that's why I feel like God throws a lot more at me. I think a lot more. So I just feel like God will throw those things at you to test you. What would you do? And it makes me think about this verse. And this is a really scary verse for me. And I've seen TikToks, people talk about how this is a really scary verse. And this is Matthew 7:21-23. But only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. And you know, I feel like this scripture kind of goes with this, because you never know any of these values that we've just talked about that might just do it. You know, that could shake us up, could wake us up, and draw us closer to him. But you also don't know the things, the values that we lack that could pull us away from him.
Ooh, that's good.
But that's why, am I saying you have to go into your work environment and just constantly quoting scriptures and being that very common Christian, you know, that you can tell them when they walk and talk they're a Christian? No, don't be the Hallmark Christian. Be the real life Christian. You know, how do they portray Christians on movies? You can tell when they're Christians.
Ooh, that's so good.
Let's be real.
But it's true, because that's like one of the steps in breaking down the Christian stereotypes, because most people are like, oh, it's sunshine and rainbows to be a Christian. No, And it's like you said, don't over spiritualize everything. Like, yes, it is good to quote scriptures, to walk around and be that hallmark Christian, but don't forget to show people the real life Christian as well.
The one that struggles.
Yeah,
The one that may need guidance.
exactly. Connect with somebody on that level where you share with them that you're struggling.
Right.
And I'm not talking about details because let's be real, it's work. Work is work. But, just be like, hey, I'm struggling. Like, my parents are this, my dog is this, my finances are, I'm just struggling, Yes, your workplace is full of people carrying stress and pressure, but you might be the only glimpse of the Bible they see. Never underestimate the power of your presence. People, they notice peace, they notice compassion, fairness, and steady strength. Your faith at work does not have to be loud. However it can be, it's okay if it is. But it needs to be lived. Even the small acts of faithfulness reveal who God really is.
So with all that being said, if you've been feeling drained or unsure of your impact, remember this: God can use you anywhere, even in the ordinary. Your integrity matters, your patience matters, your purpose matters. You're not just doing a job, you're shining a light.
So, now we're at the worst time in the episode.
Boo!
Yeah. That's all the time we have for today. So in our next episode, we're going to be talking about what it truly looks like to love people who are hard to love. Not with forced smiles or fake peace, but with real strength that comes from God. And let's be real, some of the hardest battles that we face are not with strangers. They're the people right in front of us.
They're the people that's sitting right next to you as you're trying to record a podcast.
Wow. They are the family member who drains your energy, the coworker who tests every ounce of your patience, and it can also be the church friend who means well, but makes everything a lot heavier. So really, how do you stay patient when someone keeps pushing your limits?
I don't know.
You don't.
I don't.
Do you show compassion without letting people walk all over you?
That's where boundaries come into play,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't have that barely. I got to finish that book.
And how do you keep your heart soft when someone else's attitude feels sharp? If you have ever sat in your car and said, Lord, I can't love them without your help, or you have ever said, Father, give me your heart for them, then this episode is for you. So join us next time for Loving People Who Are Hard to Love.
Dun, dun, dun.
And we're going to be talking about how to extend that love without losing ourselves and how God uses difficult relationships to grow our character and deepen our walk. So until then, keep steady, keep patient, and keep showing up even in your holy hot mess.
And like we end every other episode, if you could bow your head so we can pray, or if you're driving, please don't do that. Lord, thank you for giving us places to work and people to impact. Lord, help us carry integrity, patience, and purpose everywhere we go. Give us peace in stressful moments and wisdom in tough times. Let our actions show your love. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen and amen.
Amen.
Here's to being a holy hot mess,
Loved by God
carried by grace,
and still in progress. See you next time.
Peace.